Hey everyone, this is Lori here at the Land of Color, and I replied to a question on the house forum yesterday, and so she or he followed up today with some more questions, and it's the end of the day. It's like a quarter till 5 here in Phoenix, and I don't feel like writing out a whole big long response, so I'm making this video instead to answer all of the questions. So the original question was about Benjamin Moore Simply White with Super White. So it's Benjamin Moore Simply White on the walls in eggshell with Super White on the trim in semi-gloss. And the last part of the question was, or is it better to use the same color on walls and trim but different sheens? And this is always a solid color strategy. You can't go wrong with the same color, but you don't have to do that. And I went on to explain how to figure out if two colors of white work well together. And the key is, and I've said it many times, many different places, is to make sure that there's a difference of at least 0.20 in chromaticity. That's a rule of thumb, that's a guideline to follow, and the result is neither one of the colors of white will end up looking dirty or dingy if you follow that rule of thumb. So the key is chromaticity, but you have to know what the chroma is for the color of white. So I have this infographic on campchroma.com in the colorography lab. You can download it there. The 17 best colors of white, and they're really not the best colors of white. It's just the ones that are talked about a lot on the forums and Facebook and elsewhere. That's where the collection came from. So there's nothing like magical about this list. It's just that these colors come up a lot, and so you can find the chroma value for all of the colors on this list. But if a color of white isn't on this list, then it's hard for people who are not trained color strategists to go find a chroma value for a paint color, because paint companies don't make it easy. And yeah, that would be a whole separate video about the information that paint companies do provide. So I'll try not to get off topic on that. So let's get back to the question at hand. So my answer was yes. Simply White that has a chroma of 0.50 and Super White that has a chroma of 0.21 work nicely together technically. And after this post, I actually pulled the chips out, and I think it looks pretty. I like the color relationship between the two colors in terms of color harmony. Hue family harmony. Let me be specific about that. So I think they look pretty together. So technically it works, and visually, it works. It's pretty. So they came back, M111, 675 came back with some more questions. And so they want to know about, what about Snowfall White and Eggshell with Super White on the trim? So if we come over here to Snowfall White, we can see that it has a chroma of 44. Super White's down here with a chroma of 21. So there's a difference of at least 0.20. In terms of hue family, they're closer than Super White, which is right here, and Simply White, which is up here. So Snowfall White is a little bit closer in terms of hue family, but I don't think it's too close. I think it's definitely worth getting chips or samples and just, taking a look and seeing how it looks. If it looks pretty, then you're good to go. Cotton Balls is the same story. Cotton Balls is up here. It's a little bit farther away from Super White, so that would, I think that without even pulling the chips, I would say, yeah, Cotton Balls and Super White is a good combo. Mountain Peak White, and he asked, Mountain Peak White in eggshell with Super White or Simply White semi-gloss trim. I would not do Simply White on the trim. Simply White has too much color. It has a chromaticity of 0.50. Just like I wouldn't put Cotton Balls on trim. I think it's more of, it doesn't fall into the category of white because of its chromaticity. It's an off-white, and I don't like off-white trim, but that's probably also a matter of taste, because I've also seen people put Alabaster, which has a chromaticity of 0.66 on trim, and it does look pretty. Alabaster does look pretty on trim and doors, but I personally like a more neutral color of white on trim and doors. For the only reason is because I think it's a lot more flexible, and you're not locked into, with Alabaster or Mountain Peak White. I'm not talking about Mountain Peak White. What was it? Simply White. With Alabaster or Simply White on your doors and trim, you're going to be locked into that long term, and it's too much color, and you'll be limited in terms of future wall colors and color palettes. So Super White is a more neutral option, and it's going to go with a bunch of stuff for years to come. So I wouldn't even consider Simply White on the trim. As far as Mountain Peak White and Super White, that's not on my list, so I went ahead and pulled the data values from my database. And Mountain Peak White has a chromaticity of 0.63. And of course, Super White has a chrome of 0.21. Plenty of difference between the two, so technically it's going to work. Mountain Peak has a hue family of 7Y, so we're all the way up here with Mountain Peak White, and Super White's all the way down here. So I think the hue family relationship is pretty good. They're not too close, not too far apart. Definitely worth pulling a chip or getting a sample and taking a look and seeing what it looks like. What was the other one? Crisp Linen. Crisp Linen has even more chromaticity. So Crisp Linen, I can't say it, Crisp Lemons. No, Crisp Linen. I think it has the most chromaticity out of all the colors that they're talking about. So this is going to be, and I haven't pulled the chips to take a look at any of these, and I normally don't. I figure all of this strategy out using the data values first before I pull the chips, because pulling chips is kind of a pain. When you pull the chips out of your architectural kit, which is what I normally do because they're bigger sized chips, someone has to put all those chips away, and it's a lot of work. So they usually end up sitting here in a pile on my desk until someone has time to go put them away. So I only pull chips when I'm really ready to see the color in context with a palette. I just don't pull the chips, for grins. I do everything by numbers first. So that's why I say, yeah, it's worth pulling a chip and taking a look. That's what I mean by it's worth pulling a chip. So anyway, Crisp Linen, I think, has the most chroma out of all of the colors we've been talking about. So this is going to be a very colorful color in comparison to Super White. So there's going to be a lot of contrast as far as this colorful color of Crisp Linen next to a neutral Super White. It's going to make Super White look even more neutral, more clean, more crisp, more white. So is there anything else? I think I got it. I think I got them all. It was Crisp Linen, Mountain Peak White, and whether or not I'd put Simply White on the trim, which I would not. I would not do that. Oh, my screen just moved, sorry. So I think that answers all the questions. So yeah, that's what I would do. And honestly, I would stick to the original plan, which was Simply White and Super White. They work technically, and they're pretty. There's enough difference between the two colors that you can tell that Simply White is a different color from Super White, but it's super subtle. I think it's going to be very chic and subtle. And yeah, I would just stick with the original plan. But then with that said, it doesn't hurt to get other colors and test those too, just so you have something to compare with. So I would probably grab Snowfall White and Cotton Balls. I would pull Simply White, Cotton Balls, and Snowfall White with Super White and use those three colors for comparison. I think that will give you a nice range that will help you decide which one you like best in your space. So I hope that helps. I hope you guys had a great Monday. I'm kind of glad my Monday's over. Looking forward to grabbing some dinner with the family. And I hope you guys have a great evening too. Talk to you next time.